This is a lecture on the homework for Chapter 3. You're going to be putting together a little experiment, and there's some things to think about, and the three main are randomize, replicate, and control. Those are the three big ideas to an experiment. So we're going to talk about each of those and what does it mean to replicate, randomize, and how can I control it. So there are three steps that you need to take into account right away, and there's some questions to answer. So the first one is, what are we trying to do? So you have to read through this. We're trying to see if some change on a helicopter makes it fall faster or slower. What factors affect the response? The response would be the outcome or the time. So you're going to have to list out the factor that you're going to choose. Determine the number of experimental units. And a general rule is you have to have as much as time and money allows. So the experimental units are these helicopters that you're going to be creating from the earlier video. This is a helicopter in which I attached a paperclip to. Now dropping one, this single one helicopter does not replicate it. So I'm going to call these, with my treatment, the paperclip, I'm going to call them Group A. So the helicopters that don't have the treatment, I'm going to label those Helicopter B, because they are going to be different. Now, I have to be careful about dropping A and B. I can't just grab one to drop it. I'm going to drop all of A first. I obviously got better at dropping, and then I'm going to drop all of B. So what we have to do is we have to randomize which helicopters we're going to do. We have to replicate it. So we're going to drop them more than just once. And then we're going to control where I'm dropping it from and all the things that might affect the time it takes to fall. So the level of each factor, there's really only one level. It's a paperclip or not a paperclip in my example. You're going to conduct the experiment. Be sure to include replication, using more than one experimental unit for each treatment. So it could be the way I made the helicopter, but if I make more than one, then we'll be able to kind of wash out that difference. Okay, and then you're going to test the claim. So there's four things that you can choose to do. If you don't have a hole punch, you can change the length of the rotors. In the first video, I showed that this would be the short rotor, this folding on this line instead of the long. You could put holes in your rotors. You might need a hole punch for that. I added weight because I had a paper clip. And it could be the direction in which your rotors are bent. What if you bend them both the same direction? Some things to consider. Okay. I need you to answer these. Okay. Short answer. Provide something. So I know how your experiment was set up. So I need you to answer these. And you have these questions right here, 1 through 4, to also answer. Okay, so provide what you did there. Okay, and then the second page, you're going to set up your hypotheses. So remember, from Chapter 1, you need those mathematical symbols. So the time with weight is going to be the same as the time without. So you need to be careful about the direction. So if this is the direction, I'm saying the time with the weight is going to be less time, which means faster. So be careful of your wording there. And you have to identify these, which are also found in the book. What's your protocol for dropping? How are you going to control this experiment? Are you going to have your kid drop it every time? Are you going to take turns? Or should you be the one and only the one dropping it? You're going to define your two groups. So I did that already. I called Helicopter A, the one with the weight, which I could also call the treatment. And Helicopter B was my standard helicopter with no weight. Now, you have to randomize which ones you're going to select. So I set up this table. You can use it any way you want, but I need to know, am I going to drop A first and then B? Or am I going to drop B first and then A? So I need a random number generator. So I have my calculator, which looks very close to the one that you have downloaded. Okay, and I'm going to do that same thing, math. Go over to probability, down to randint, and I'm going to randomly select numbers either 1 or 2. I'm going to close it up. So why 1 and 2? Well, A, I'm going to actually call 1 because it won't give me an A. And so since B is the second letter in the alphabet, I'm going to call it a 2. Now, in order to replicate this and to have some control, I need more than just 2 helicopters. So I need probably minimally maybe 2 of each type. So if I call this A1, this one would be A2. It's the second helicopter. Maybe I made 3. And I would do the same for group B. So when I hit this, it tells me 2. So I'm going to record that number. And that says I must pick from 2, the B group. So now I'm picking from the B group. So pretend that I have 2 helicopters there. So this is B2, and this is B1. In other words, 2, 1, and this is 2, 2. So if I hit enter again, it's going to tell me select B2. So this is B2. So this is the first one I'm going to drop. Now, I only have one other group to choose from. So I'm going to put 2, 2, which means B2, and then I know I'm going to have to drop from group A. So I'm going to get group A out here, and then I'm going to pick which helicopter from group A. That would be 1. So I need 3 numbers. So B2, A is automatically next, and I'm going to drop helicopter 1. So I'm going to drop this, A1, so I have to drop B2 first and then A1. So if I repeat this, it says collect from group B, drop helicopter 1, so B1. Now I'm automatically going to drop from A, and it says A2. Let's do that again. Drop helicopter 1, which is group A, and in group A, drop the first helicopter labeled 1. I'm automatically in group B now, because I only have 2 groups to choose from. And in group B, drop helicopter 2. You're going to record the flight times, and then determine which one is there a difference, and which one is faster or slower. So if you have questions on how to set this up, it really doesn't matter so long as you're randomly selecting a group to drop, and then randomly selecting which helicopter in that group to drop. Now I only made 2 helicopters. I could have made 3 helicopters for each group. So if I made 3 helicopters for each group, I would want to figure out how to randomly select from those groups to drop that. So for me, time and efficiency, I just made 2. So going back here, you're really looking at these words, randomized, so that's what we did in the table. We replicated it because we're dropping more than 1 helicopter, and we have more than 1 to select from, which helps me with my control.